You're listening to the Luminate series on the Forward Faster podcast, providing bite-sized insights for entrepreneurs in the optics, photonics, and imaging sector.
Hello, welcome to the Next Core Forward Faster podcast. Today we're going to be talking about breaking the chicken and egg problem for hardware, and specifically in the optics and photonics industry for autonomous navigation of drones. Our guest today is Kazem Zandi from the company Silicon Chip Photonics, and he is in our Luminate Startup Accelerator. The Luminate Startup Accelerator is the largest accelerator in the world for optics, photonics, and imaging companies exclusively. And Kazem is in our program this year. Kazem, great to see you. And so hi, welcome to the show.
Hi, everyone. Glad to be here.
Yeah. The question I always hit people with to start off with is, what is the problem that you're trying to solve and why is it important?
Okay, that's a great question. What we are trying to solve basically is the safety of future autonomous vehicles. As you know, this is an emerging technology coming, such as drones or autonomous cars, and we want to make sure that the autonomous vehicle is guided or navigated safely and reliably, especially for the cases when there's a really situation where the vehicle is facing some challenges such as GPS denied environment. So we want to make sure the passengers and the drivers, well, basically there's no driver because it is autonomous, but that in any situation, whether it's dark, foggy, raining, snowy, or GPS denied, the vehicle is safely guided through the driving path.
Okay. And when you say GPS denied, you're talking about environments where it has stopped working, like a tunnel or in a city. Is that the idea there?
Exactly. So, or simply, driving in downtown when there are tall buildings and the GPS gets blocked by those buildings. So anywhere where the signal by the satellite is blocked. So tunnel, as you mentioned, even could be in a forest. Trees.
Yeah, I have actually had the frustration of being in a new city and relying on my GPS and then having it not work when I need it the most because of the building. So yeah, that's fantastic.
I'm sure everybody has experienced it. They use their cell phone in the tunnel, and then the moment they're into the tunnel, they see that the GPS is gone, and then the dot that basically tracks your motion, it's just showing somewhere that you're completely off, like sometimes hundreds of meters. So that's basically the problem.
So you're in a tunnel and your spot would normally go drifting off. You guys are solving that. So what is your approach for solving that kind of a problem?
Yeah, so the sensor that is actually responsible for that motion tracking is called inertial measurement units or inertial navigation sensors. And what that sensor does is basically tracks your motion as you move. And the problem with the current sensor is that they have a drift, like an intrinsic drift. And over the time, that drift builds up. So it leads to a position error for the vehicle. So what we do, we are replacing those sensors with a very accurate and precise with the low bias drift sensor using laser and integrated photonics technology. So basically our sensor is much more precise compared to what exists, and that can tackle that problem.
So you have this existing technology that's out there and you have a superior technology. What are your ways of getting yourself into the market when you know that you've got something better, but something's set in there? What's your method for breaking in?
This is a challenge that industry feels itself. Like most of the time, these autonomous vehicles manufacturers, they look for solution. It's not even us because they know it's there. So most of the time we get contacted by them. Hey, we've been looking for this solution for a long time. By the way, there is a product that is precise in the market. It exists. The problem, however, is that product is expensive for those markets. So even though they want to use that product, it's so expensive and not as scalable. They're looking for a cheaper solution that basically does the same job as that product. Again, we're talking about two different products. The first product was a really low performance, and the other one is high performance, but the high performance one is expensive. So we are basically filling that gap of being cheap at the same time high performance product.
When you say more accurate, you're talking about fiber gyroscopes?
That's correct, exactly.
Yeah. So the technology that goes into fighter jets is not something that someone can mass produce to go into a car, right?
Exactly. And this is a similar story for LiDAR as well. LiDAR, like old days, they used to be only for aerospace application, right? Because they used to be very bulky and expensive. So, but then autonomous vehicles arrived. They needed the LiDAR. Old LiDAR were too expensive and bulky. And then all these companies started innovating, making it cheaper. So we're exactly doing the same thing, right? And LiDAR, by the way, LiDAR is another sensor that is responsible for navigating the vehicles, not just IMU. So it's a combination of all these sensors that ensure the vehicle that is in any condition can navigate itself.
So what you're seeing then is you're seeing a lot of market pull where so that's how you're getting this in a sense your market advantage is that there's a demand from these drone manufacturers. They kind of look at what can a jet do and they say, well, we want it, and they're trying to put it in this little tiny drone. Yeah, exactly.
And the other thing that probably people have faced is that, when they operate, even a consumer drone, they operate this drone and they see that drift of the drone over the time. And that's just a consumer drone. And that drift is really critical for precise application. Like, for example, agriculture, one of the application of drones or agriculture, you need to be really precisely be located, and you can't afford to have that drift, right? And that drift comes from the sensor, basically. So we are solving that problem by using that precise sensor to make sure that drone is stable, it tracks itself over the time.
So we talked before about this is your first startup. This is and so what's the biggest surprise challenge that you've met in starting your first startup?
That is a great question, because I would say the biggest surprise for me was this chicken and egg problem that I think every entrepreneur. It was I don't know. I used to hear about it, but I never really deeply understand what was it. But when I started this, obviously you have to go through fundraising, right? So you start talking to investors, and investors say, well, show me that you have a customer. Then I go to talk to the customer and say, show me that you have a product, but then you don't have the money to build a product. So it all, it's a circle. So that's frustrating, right? One of the mistakes I made was like, I wanted to raise $1 million, like right off, right? And you can't do that, because if you don't have a product, you can't really close that loop or break it. So over the time, I learned that you have to do it step by step, like very slowly. Get it, I don't know, $10,000 loan or a grant, build something, get it very early, not the best customer, but the customer enough, convince them. So that was a learning curve for me, and it was really frustrating at the beginning. Like, how can I solve this problem? But I learned how to really, and I think it will help me significantly for my next venture if I ever do another startup.
That is one of the biggest problems, is like you said, the chicken and egg problem. And so if I'm understanding correctly, your solution for it is that you incrementalized. That's a verb I just created. But so what you said is that you get a little bit of a grant to get you to a prototype, then you get a customer from the prototype, and you just keep building yourself up.
Exactly. Don't go big. I mean, I think the biggest mistakes that probably, and this is not for hardware. I don't have experience with software, but for hardware, I know you keep hearing that, dream big, which is a good thing. You should, but building a product, you can't do that. You have to go very slowly and build a credit, right? Because you don't have a credit. You have to build that credit, and the only way you can do it is just slowly and build it. And then I think we should not push it right too much, and then because then you get frustrated and then you don't know what to do, and then there's this big gap. So this chicken and egg gap, what you have to do is basically slowly, make it like shrink, and then over the time, then you can close it up.
Yeah, there is this balance between trying to be first to market where you just run, but you're trying to get yourself integrated into an industry that's really trying to draw something in. You're saying you have to build up your reputation first in order to get there. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so what made you confident to move into this role as an entrepreneur? Everybody's scared to start, but when did you decide you were going to do this?
Well, since I was a kid, I always used to, play with wires and, like any potential engineers they do. So I was an engineer at heart, and I could see myself to be an engineer, and I became an engineer. Obviously, I did I did my bachelor and master in physics and optics, and then finished my PhD in engineering physics. So I started. I worked for big corporations as an engineer, but then soon realized that I can't be an employee, like at least a good employee, right? I have this drive of entrepreneurship to do big things, and get things started. I couldn't fall into routine. So after a few years, jumping from one job to another one, said, no, that's not who I am. I need to really, start a venture. And by the way, the whole concept of this company started from my PhD. I used to work during that time on inertial sensors. So I did do the research at the time, and then when I finished, and it was exactly the time that I was like trying to start a company and become an entrepreneur, and said, well, there's an opportunity. I had the knowledge, I had the drive, and that's how it all started. And it's been now 4 years that I've been doing this venture, and I'm very, very happy and excited that I started this journey. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting, and we're really excited to have you in the program for sure. This whole field of integrated photonics is just really, really interesting. So we just talked about how it is that you made your decision to move into entrepreneurship. What would you? I ask people this: entrepreneurs are, and you can just fill the blank in anyway. So entrepreneurs are what?
Patient. Oh my God, how patient you have to be! Like, how many times you hear no? Like, I think the most they learn how to be the most patient person in the world. And the only thing that keeps them being patient is just because they believe in what they're doing. So yeah, game changer, disruptors and inspire. I think the most successful entrepreneurs are the one who can inspire people, and who when they talk to someone, they can see that spark in their eyes, right? Because they're so passionate about it. So passion. Obviously, and you can feel that energy. So they're really game changer. They're really people that believe in what they do and inspire people and make people passionate about the technology or the product they build.
Passion and patience. That's great. That goes together really well. I'm going to use that, passion and patience, from now on.
Oh my God, I can't tell you how many no I have heard. But that brings us to the question that, as an entrepreneur, I think myself, if you really genuinely believe that you believe in the product or the company you're building, that's all matters. You have to keep going and not listen to noises, and you are going to hear a lot of no because those people don't know, or they at least they haven't experience the path you've been through, or they don't believe whatever. But if you believe in it, keep going and just don't listen to noises and no, and you'll be successful for 100%.
I know that you're relatively new as an entrepreneur, but if you do you see any trends in entrepreneurship as far as finding investors? We certainly didn't see how last year changed things a lot. So, are there anything that you think looking forward that you would that you think is impactful as far as the change goes?
I think what will change the world, and obviously entrepreneurship in the next 5 years, will be AI. I see like AI is taking over everything. Like the one thing that, like, at least in my case, I never thought that AI would impact my company and my business, but it does. You just feel it. By talking to the customer, they have this AI technology, they are involved, and automatically you have to adapt. So I think the key here for entrepreneurs is how to adapt their technology to AI, because that's the future, and that's going to disrupt everything. And we have to be ready and open to adapt our product and business to that technology.
Yeah, I hear that surprisingly too. I'm talking to medical imaging people, and it's not that their technology is getting better; it's that the AI is getting better at doing the pattern detection. It's I haven't had anybody bring that up. Yeah. The last thing is, just as an inspiration in 10 words or less, what would you like to leave our readers? What would you like to leave our listeners with as like your 10 words of advice at the end?
I would go back and emphasize to what I just said before. I think if you believe in it, generally, that's real. That's real. If you believe it, it's real. And if it's real, it's gonna happen. So just keep going, and get inspire people, and enjoy and have fun on the way. It's not always about challenge too. You got to have fun along the way. And I think everything comes to the belief. And if you believe it, you can make it.
If you believe it, it's real, and have fun. I think that's really great. Okay, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure, and I look forward to talking to you some more in the future as you continue in the program. To our viewers, thank you very much for watching today. You please like and subscribe to our show. You can also catch us on Spotify for the audio. And thank you very much.